All right. Welcome into Off the Leash. It has been a crazy week 3, guys. Cleveland beats the Green Bay Packers 13-10. And goodness gracious, when this game looked like it was coming down to basically nothing, the last 4 minutes switched everything. Andre Szmyt with a walk-off winning field goal 55 yards out. Who would have thought that we were praising this guy by the end of week 3?
Never a doubt. This is exactly how we scripted the Browns to win, right? Have a deflated offense all the way up until fourth quarter. They score 13 unanswered points. Finally get a takeaway that the defense hadn't had yet this entire season. That comes late. And then, yeah, of course, a 55-yarder. Andre Szmyt redemption story. That's what Ashley had texted us. She was right.
So I said earlier on this show, and the last week for sure, that this was the game I thought they would win. And even I didn't think they would win it. When they were down 10-0, it felt like the game was over. They hadn't scored. Naturally, that's when they put 13 points on the board in the fourth quarter to rally past Green Bay, who looked like they might be the best team in the NFL, and stun them 13-10. So last week, I picked the Browns to win this game, and I still didn't think they were going to win this game at that point.
I mean, I think that this is just a really good redemption story for Andre Szmyt, because what a rough first week for him. You know, he misses those 2 big kicks. A lot of people are like, cut this guy. He needs to get out of here. We no longer need to have him a part of the team. And then he shows up so big against the team that a lot of people were not giving them a lot of credit for. They weren't going to win. I know, Mark, you said that they were going to win that game. They were going to steal that game. But a lot of people weren't giving them, a lot of grace when it came to the Green Bay Packers. And the Packers have been playing so good. And I think it's important to mention that the Packers did not play very well this game. So, that also helped. But good for Szmyt, man, because he needed that boost. He needed that morale. He needed that motivation to keep going.
Well, and mind you, he had tweaked his calf on Friday's practice, right? I mean, that's the part I forgot after all this. I was like, he was questionable. We didn't even know. We found out Saturday, MRI came back clean and he was going to play Sunday. But there was a moment where we didn't even know both the punter and kicker were questionable for the Browns. We didn't know what type of emergency scenario they were going to be in there. And we had the chance to speak with him after the game in the locker room. And I think one of the hardest parts, I would imagine, about being a kicker has to be the mental. You talked about missing the field goal week 1, missing that extra point. Everything is built up just into one moment, right? It's not like you get a large sample size throughout a game to where if you miss a tackle, you can go and get the next one. Like, it boils down to you have one moment to go out and do your job, and to be able to ride those highs and lows and not be on that roller coaster, not get too high and not get too low. I think that would be really challenging after what happened to him week 1. Mind you, week 1 was his first NFL game.
It's unbelievable for me that what happened with the kicker is one thing, but I mean, everything in front of that. Like, I got a 55-yarder. Yes, of course, everyone's going to talk about it. The Packers, and I want to be clear, you said they didn't look real good, and they didn't. A lot of the reason they didn't look good is because the Browns' defense is really good. However, the interception to Grant Delpit was everything to do with what the heck was Jordan Love doing. Yeah. Like, I tweeted or X'd, whatever we're supposed to call it now, Jordan LOLOLOLOLOL Love. Because I don't know what that throw was. That is the type of throw that if Joe Flacco makes, or if any Cleveland Browns quarterback makes in the last 15, 20 years you're talking about, find a way to lose. What an idiot play. That made no sense. But in this time, it was the other guys doing it. That throw made no sense at all, and it completely changed the game. And I can't believe that we saw somebody else make the find a way to lose play, and it wasn't the Cleveland Browns in this game. They found a way to win that. Delpit made a great catch, of course, and then the blocked field goal. That is the find a way to win. Or if the Browns get it blocked, it's find a way to lose. If the Browns throw the pick, it's find a way to lose. And this time it was the Cleveland Browns making winning plays, blocking the kick, coming up with the interception, and the operation on the throw the ball to Njoku and quickly get up and spike it to stop the clock. Those are plays that winning football teams make, and the Browns made 3 of them right there before they even get the kickoff to win the game. And to do them all against Green Bay, wow plays.
And it makes you wonder if this, and let's go ahead and shift into how big the Browns defense was. I mean, because they are the winners of this game, no doubt. And they have been that way through 3 weeks, even though this is their first win. They're probably going to be looked at once again as one of the best defenses in the NFL. But when you look at that small sample size of those last 4 minutes, you have to wonder what would happen if they could do this for 4 full quarters and then the offense could start clicking. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When you look at this defense, there's so many good guys in it. Grant had a great game, as you're talking about, with that interception, 6 solo tackles and 9 total tackles. Man, let's just talk about Carson Schlesinger. I know we got to talk about Miles, but 10 total tackles, 7 solo tackles, 1 sack, 1 tackle for loss. This man is a little baby Luke Kuechly. I'm going to say it right now. And I'm not just saying that because they look kind of alike, but I mean, he is everywhere outside of the blown coverage on that touchdown.
But he had been limping a couple of plays before. He didn't look like he was 100%. He got, I think, just banged up in one of those tackles.
Outside of that, he was everywhere.
Yeah, it was insane. I think the sack on Love was maybe a loss of 11. I mean, he looked like he was shot straight out of a cannon.
Yeah.
We were like, who was that? We were like, oh, that was Schlesinger. I mean, golly, what a find the Browns having him. What a get.
Led the team in total tackles, led the team in solo tackles, second on the team today in sacks, only the 1, but still there. And among team leaders in tackles for loss, he was phenomenal. We talked about the linebacker position a lot in the run-up to this season because of the injury to JOK and the retirement of Hicks. And it was like all the focus all of a sudden on Schlesinger. He's going to have to be a leader-type guy. And goodness, he was today. That was an outstanding performance. Another day, we're not talking about Mason Graham. We're 3 games in now, and if I said, what's your favorite Mason Graham play, I'm pretty sure nobody would have one.
Wasn't he credited for like half a sack today? He went in on a...
He was credited for half a sack.
He made some plays.
I saw a stat that I'm going to try to pull it up, and I now can't find it.
Because someone congratulated him in the locker room. They were like, congrats on your first NFL sack. And he's like, doesn't really count.
Yeah, that's what he said.
No, but I was he had a half a sack. I wasn't saying that to rip Mason Graham. I was going to bring this play up. Here it is. Seth Walder. And Seth, I just want to decide who he's with. He's an ESPN NFL analyst, so he's not a Browns guy. My point is he's not going out of his way. Mason Graham recorded a 43% pass rush win rate against the Packers. Average for a defensive tackle is 9%. And so this is the kind of thing that it doesn't necessarily show up in the box score, although the half sack will be there. If you're going to take a guy 5th overall and you're going to make the big move back and not take Travis Hunter, you need a guy to make those types of plays. And sometimes I completely understand with a defensive tackle, it doesn't always show up in the box score. The half sack does show up. Pass rush, win rate is big. If you're going to take a defensive tackle 5th, he needs to impact the quarterback. He needs to develop pass rush from the center of the line. He did it today. And you combo that with what Schlesinger did, and that's a big 1-2 punch for the Browns when it comes to what they did in their first 2 picks of the NFL draft. And then we talk about Fannin. Didn't have the biggest day today, but Judkin's a big day. Yeah. Fannin's had his moments, and you're thinking maybe they did have a draft here. They need Graham to keep stacking games like that up. I think we all feel good about Schlesinger, and on a day where they had to dig one out and they needed to play big, they played big, and they shut down a pretty good offense.
And I think the question moving forward is the Browns found a way to win this game, but it's not going to be like every single week. And that was what we had seen through the first 3 weeks is you have the defense just absolutely playing their tail off, and then they get worn down at some point. The offense at some point has to figure stuff out, and they didn't figure it out this game. You got lucky. You got a couple lucky breaks. But were they first and goal at the 5 and had to settle for a field goal? I mean, it's like they were trying to hand the game away.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, when you go into the offense, this is probably one of the worst offenses in the NFL. We go from one of the best defenses in the NFL to probably the worst, and they are right there sitting with the New Orleans Saints currently right now. They are not good at all. The defense is going to continue to get worn down. And I really feel like while it was a lot of good plays and good football and complimentary football, it was also a lot of things that just worked and clicked and a little bit of luck thrown in there as well. But when you have your number 1 wide receiver getting paid as much money as he does with 1 catch for 17 yards.
She can blow the speakers off this thing.
Jerry. I'm sorry to yell. I was acting like Mark there.
I want you to yell.
It's starting to get ridiculous. David Njoku, okay, led with 5 catches for 40 yards. David Njoku is a tight end.
Is a what?
Is a tight end.
No, he plays for the Browns.
He's a tight end.
He's a tight end.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you said a Titan.
No.
I'm like,
No.
what are you talking about?
David Njoku is a tight end for the Cleveland
Yes, I've
Browns.
heard
He's
of
a
him.
tight end.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
All right, yeah.
I'm familiar with the
He plays
position.
with
I thought you
the-
said he's a Titan.
No,
I'm like,
no,
what?
No, we're not even getting to the Titans yet. But I'm just saying he should not be your leader. I understand maybe throwing it in there a couple, maybe one good game. But I'm just saying Jerry, with one catch is ridiculous. Said, there was a chance for him to have a really good big play as well, but then
he
he got that
pushed it off.
offensive,
Yeah.
pass interference. I just feel like, and then you hear the very first play of the game, Joe Flacco
Bond,
yelling
yeah.
at Isaiah Bond, like, Bond, move. Like, we're all not in the same spot. And I just think it's impossible to really do well the entire season. The good thing is, hey, we are, they're still in playoff contention through 3 weeks now. But, again, this offense is not going to get you far.
I mean,
you can't rely on the defense.
I
It's
think
just
it
not.
was the play where they did the little lateral, the pitch back, where they gave it to Judkins and he pitched it back. And he by the way, he got rid of that maybe a little too quick. You want to sell the run a little more. But anyway, quick. I believe that was the play. Bond was wide open over the middle deep, and they pulled back to the all-22 or close to it, and they talked about it on the telecast. Flacco just straight up missed him. Like, didn't even see him. Like, he threw a little route, and it worked. But you hit Bond in space with his quicks. That's either a touchdown or a real big hitter, and that was squarely on Joe Flacco. You cannot. That is your job as the veteran quarterback. If it's one of the kids, if it's Shador or Gabriel, you're talking about, he's not going through the reads or the progressions or whatever it is. He's got to see that guy, and he's got to make that throw. That's why he's there as a 40-year-old quarterback.
No, Mark, you definitely make a good point. That leads us into our next thing. We're going to take a quick break, but right after the break, we've got our infamous true or false question coming from Mark Schwab himself. We'll be right back after this break.
All right, off the leash, true false question of the week. We try to do one of these all the time. No, you can't live in the gray area, ladies. Can't live in the gray area. True false, by the month of October, you will not hear anyone talking about Nick Chubb anymore. Quinshad Judkins will have made them forget. And I don't mean that rudely, like he left no legacy here, but we hear Nick Chubb's name every single time they don't have a running back.
Honestly?
Quinshad Judkins will make the fans stop talking about Nick Chubb, and it'll be happen before the month of October.
It's kind of crazy. True, because I forgot about Nick Chubb. That sounds so bad, but we've talked so much about Judkins for so many different reasons, not just for what he's, done on the field, but obviously the stuff off the field. But as powerful as he is and showing the potential he has, I totally agree. I could see that.
I would say true, too. But, yeah, I agree. I feel like I haven't heard the fans' cries about, you got rid of Nick Chubb. I feel like, if anything, I've just heard of them saying, let's get rid of Jerome Ford. Why do we still have him? Like, if anything, that's what I've been
That's what
hearing.
it was. It would be like, why didn't they at least keep Chubb? Why is Ford here? That kind of stuff.
I haven't heard, we shouldn't have got rid of Chubb and we need to get rid of Jerome Ford. It's mainly been there's a lot of excitement about Dylan Sampson, and then it's been, when is Quinshon coming back? When do we get him? So, yeah, I say true. I feel like if he keeps progressing like how he's been progressing, now granted, we still have no clue if he's getting a suspension or anything. We have no idea because I believe the NFL is still conducting their investigation. But if we throw that out the window and act like he's going to be playing every single week, I think fans are really excited about this guy. Why would you not be? They were excited when they drafted him.
So this is where this stems from, the question. In week 1, Sampson had big plays in the passing game, but he didn't run the ball well at all. The average yards per carry, they weren't there. And Ford, I'm sorry, I've never been a big Jerome Ford. He's fine. Not a bad guy. He works hard, all that jazz. He's not a franchise tailback. And as much as we had buzz in the preseason about Judkins, and boy, they liked Sampson a lot too, and they legitimately did because they took him 2 rounds later, they're not the same. Sampson and Judkins are not the same, and you could see it today. He has juice. Quinshon Judkins hits that line going 1,000 miles an hour. He finds a hole, and he gets through it quick, and he is explosive. He had the 38-yard run, but that wasn't the only big play. It wasn't like he was stuck in mud and broke a big one. He was legitimately exciting with the football. Get it to 10 every single time you wanted them to make a play. Get the ball to 10 because he looks like a guy that you take in the second round, and if he didn't play running back, he'd probably be taken in the first round, but there's always a discount on those guys because it's not a position that's prioritized. But he looks like a big-time player for them, and he might be, I don't know, might be. He is their best player on offense. He's played one full game. He's their best offensive player, best offensive skill position. Joe Bitonio, respect to what he's done.
Yeah, well, there's no question. Sorry to cut you off. I think we had been saying if the Browns are going to have success on the offense, they're going to need to run the offense through Quinshon Judkins because they do not have their guy in Jerry Jeudy or Cedric Tillman, or I would even say David Njoku, that you can throw the ball in his vicinity third down and you know they're going to come up with a big play. I don't think you have that. I think you have that starting to see flashes of the consistency and reliability in Judkins.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, their run game is where they're going to flourish at. But they've got to also have the offensive line that works, to help Judkins out as well.
Yeah.
But he's a beast for sure. I think, and he's only scratching the surface of what he can do. I mean, the guy had 2 practices, like you said, his first game, and now you turn around, he was able to have a full practice under his belt, and they continue to keep working with him because they're very clear that this is the pillar of the offense. Especially, as Leah said, they don't have anybody they have people to throw to, but there's nobody that's really standing out to them.
Where I'm going, Quinshon Judkins is a better running back than Jerry Jeudy is a receiver.
Oh yeah,
Judkins is a better Judkins is a better running back than Njoku is a tight end. Judkins is a better running back than Fannin is a tight end.
Right.
Like he is that guy. Like he should be that guy. I don't want to say he's the best in the NFL, but I mean they have guys. Judy's a nice player. He's not a 1. Njoku's a nice player. He's not a stellar tight end. Judkins is an RB1. He looks like he is an RB1. That's where I'm going with that.
No, absolutely. But the thing is, you have to also look at, as this season goes on, how he's able to continue with those numbers. Do those numbers go up? Do they stay stagnant? Do they go down? As you start playing. And a good thing is, Judkins is starting now, along with the rest of the team, is a hard schedule. You know what I mean? Going up against some tough teams. So when those talent, we'll say, goes down for what they say the schedule gets a lot easier, then you kind of look at it and see, okay, do we see a blast, from his production of what he's able to do the first 2, 2, 3, 4 weeks, whatever, whatever it is. Because I don't think the Browns turn around and have maybe I don't know if they have a winning season, but if they don't have a winning season, but then you have Judkins that has a phenomenal season, you have to look at that as positive, right? Because you know where you're going to go into the next year.
I think, and Schwab had mentioned it, of did they hit on the draft this year? I think there's some real promise for the future when you look at the young guys that they have brought in. When you look at your Harold Fannin, your Carson Schlesinger, potential of Mason Graham, Quinshon Judkins, I do think early on, this is a good draft class for the Browns, and we don't know even what they have yet in these rookie QBs either. I know people were saying when Flacco was not doing well in this game, I saw they were putting up Dylan Gabriel on the broadcasts and we're talking about him, and so I think at some point, we're going to see what they have at least with him too, and I'd be excited about that too.
I mean, a team starts with 7 picks, and the gauge I've always kind of run with is if 7 picks, if you get 2 starters, that's okay. If you get 3 starters, that's a great draft. 3. Now the Browns had more because they made the trade back, but all right, Schlesinger looks like a hit. Judkins looks like a hit. Fannin looks like a hit. Just on that alone. Not even counting whatever Mason Graham, that looks like a win.
Aiden Huntington, they didn't draft him, but he had a good play today too.
Yeah, and he had a big camp. So I mean, you're at 3 there without even the first round pick, who we already talked about starting to flash some things, and this starts to look like a home run draft class for them. Which, thank goodness, half the reason this team has been so bad for 30 years, other than the 2 seasons, the biggest reason is quarterback. But down the street of that is they've drafted terribly. They've obviously whiffed on quarterback, but they've whiffed on a ton of other positions. Justin Gilbert's terrible. Cam Irving, a blown first-round pick. There's millions of them. I don't need to go through the list.
Ooh,
and
Cam Irving
was a first-round pick here.
Crazy. I didn't. Wow.
And if they've hit on some of these guys, great. Now they still got to go out and that's conversations down the road. But yes, that would be a breath of fresh air that they've hit on a draft class that can help them win some games. They still got to find a quarterback, but love what we saw today.
Right.
Yeah, and I just think, too, you could feel just everyone exhale and breathe a sigh of relief. I just think the way the season went last year, all the doom and gloom that surrounds the Browns, like there's always just like a tension in the air. And then when you start off the year 0-2 and wow, it looked like they were really going to be 0-3 all the way up until the end. Like, you just felt like a sigh of relief that these guys were like, okay, we can have fun. I mean, that's the most emotion I have ever seen from Kevin Stefanski in my entire life.
Yeah.
I saw him walking through the tunnel, heading back to the locker room. I got a video of it on my phone. Like, ran and jumped into Andrew Barry's arms, and they hugged and celebrated, and Stefanski was, like, yelling and chest-bumping guys, like, on the way to the locker room. I've never seen that before. It was just like a sigh of relief.
You never see him show emotion. How about him
No.
somewhat airing out the ref on the fumble that didn't
You
go
don't
their
see
way?
that often either.
And you could tell, and that's just, I'm not a big fan of the people that say get angry because the guy shows no emotion. And I'm going to sound like I'm contradictory here. But at some point, sideline or press conference, show something, right? show something. And it was good to see that. Reveal to us that you are a human and not a robot.
Care, right?
Yeah, of course, like we know they care, but I mean, show us.
Yes, but
don't be a robot all the time.
We know you care, but seeing it is a different
Right.
thing. When fans see it, and too, not even fans, like putting all that aside because he's not doing it for fans or for us, but for players. Like we talk about players, coaches all the time, right? We remember that a lot with Kenny Atkinson last year. Like when he's going to bat and screaming and yelling and fighting for his guys, like guys love that. They love seeing this guy's going to get ejected for me. This guy's going to go to war for me. Like players like to see that. And so I do think there's a time and place for it, but I do think it's important to show emotion.
Right.
And it's good that they have that because, again, going back to the rookies, they're going to need all of those guys, especially with the week that they have coming up. Let's go ahead and look ahead now to what the Browns will be facing the next couple weeks. They've got the Detroit Lions next on the road. Then they will be going across the pond. I don't know if that's right.
That's a great
to
accent.
England to face the Minnesota Vikings. And then they will be on the road once again to play the Steelers. That wraps up 6 weeks of play. We don't want to really look any further than that. But looking at the Lions, again, another hard game, another tough defense, another, challenge for the Browns defense when you look at what the Lions offense has, St. Brown by himself can get 3-4 touchdowns, So that's going to be another tough one, and that's on the road. They play the Baltimore Ravens. Maybe that can wear them down. They play them, what is that, Thursday night football, Sunday night football?
I think that's Monday night.
Monday night football.
I think they play
okay.
Monday night. Yeah, they play the Monday nighter. And, Vikings on the other end of that, they crushed the Bengals today, but the Bengals had 5 turnovers and just gave away points like it was candy on Halloween night. You don't know if they're going to have J.J. McCarthy back for that game. I mean, you can certainly tell a story where that's a winnable game for the Browns, even though the Browns are certainly offensively challenged. Minnesota has been as well. So now we're into this. Can they steal one next week? And you're looking at 2 and if they can steal one next week, 2-2 with a winnable game. That's why it was so important to get one of these. It was so important to get one of these. So we're not sitting here going, it's 0-3, and maybe they can get one of the next 2, and then you're 1-4, and you're like, oh my God, here we go again.
So is Detroit a winnable game for them on the road in this situation?
I feel like with this defense, every game can be winnable.
You just need the offense to figure out what they're doing.
Right. I'm not picking them to win. But I think when they play defense like this, every game is winnable.
You're in it. And if they keep getting takeaways too, I mean, that was
what a concept,
that
right?
was, I know, I sound very elementary, but that was the missing piece, right? You got to have that takeaway. The defense has been great and whatever, you get 3 and outs and all that good stuff, but the biggest way to help the offense, you got to get those takeaways.
Yeah.
And that's what they did. It was astounding.
You hope that this is the game, and I mean, not to belabor a point, that this is the game that they figure out the running game. And, I keep going back to they made the winning plays. And I don't know, this is a franchise, look, that has not made a lot of winning plays over the last whatever amount of years. So I'm certainly not going to go into assume they're going to go into Detroit and do it. But the blocked field goal, a huge winning play. The interception, a winning play. The operation of getting the ball to Njoku, first down, quick up and spike it down to stop the clock. That'll not get talked about enough. How hard that is for an offense to execute that quick. Like he caught that. I'm like, there's no way in the world they have enough time to spike this. And they spiked it with 2 to 3 seconds left. That is hard coached, well executed, literally every single guy has to do everything right, because if somebody lines up wrong, it's an offensive penalty and it's a 10-second runoff, and we found a new way to lose, right? And we're talking about that today. That whole execution of Njoku get up and spike the ball before the 55-yard field goal. Winning play, winning play, winning play, winning play. The Browns don't make a lot of them. They went 4 for 4 there, and we're talking about a dub, and maybe you can go get one in Detroit and get back to 500.
And that's what I taught.
I'll rip them when they deserve them, but throw them bouquets when they deserve it, because they did a lot right down the end of this game.
And that's what I asked some of the guys in the locker room afterwards, just like, what can this win do for their morale and just motivation going forward, considering the first 2 weeks did not go the way that they wanted to. And Alex Wright was pretty much like, look, something's brewing inside and we got to let it out. A lot of the guys were like, we want to win. This is what we want. Of course, I expect them to say nothing else but that. But I do think the fact that they were able to steal this one at home against a really tough team, that is what they needed. And I feel like the Browns, and I don't know, Mark, you tell me, because you've technically been here the longest and seen more football than us.
Not technically.
Yeah, you have
By a landslide, I've been here the longest.
But they
barely.
always have, like, they always, like, kind of try. Before I was here, they were always calling the Browns like a trap game. Like, people would be playing so well that they come in here and then they shut you down, right? But how far does a trap game or a trap team go is what I'm saying. Like, so that's what I'm interested in looking at as they go to play the Lions and the Vikings. Is this team, or was this just this
Lucky.
4 minutes?
Yeah, right. It totally could have been it. And
Right.
maybe next week they do 3 other dumb things and we're back to ripping them. And you're right. The Browns have been a trap game. We've always said they win games that make no sense. That's why I picked them to win this one. That's how they beat Baltimore last year, right? Total, like, what? And maybe that's it. But the defense feels real. They shut down the Bengals in week 1 when the Bengals had Joe Burrow and everybody.
Looked good against Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson.
They shut down Derrick Henry. I know they gave up a lot of points, but the offense gave up a lot of those with short fields.
Well, they shut
and
down their
fumbles.
legs, which was...
And they did it again today. Like, Josh Jacobs, what did he have today?
He only had 30 yards.
He had 30 yards on 16 carries, and he was their leading receiver in the sense of receptions. And Matthew Golden, who was their top guy on yards, 4 for 52. A lot of short stuff. He had the one big one down the stretch that looked like it was going to put the game away. But a lot of his were wide receiver screens. Tucker didn't do much. Tucker Kraft, a very good tight end. Like, they've shut guys down, and that's real, and that travels too.
And that's
where, are they a trap team? And maybe it was maybe, but I can tell you a story where it's not because of the way they play defense.
Yeah, and that's going to be, again, the tough thing of moving forward. The defense cannot be your only option.
Right, you got it. You can't do this to them every single week.
I mean, that's
that's
tough.
what I'm worried about.
They did do it last season, so I mean, they're prepared for it. But I don't think Myles Garrett and some of these people on the team are not slow. I think they know that their offense is not that good.
Here, I'll just give them. Joe Flacco was bad today. 21 of 36, 142, no touchdowns, a pick, a rating of 55. Those are not good numbers. You can't do that next week. You got
Well, and that's what's scary is I don't know what that next step that the offense takes. I don't know who's going to emerge and all of a sudden get their stuff together. Like, Quinshawn will continue to progress and look better. I feel confident in that. But other than that, what's going to change on this offense? Like,
Well, you know what? Let's
continued development of young players, continued development of the running game. And this was a bad game for Flacco. I mean, he will have better Sundays.
yeah.
So
Yeah. Well, moving forward, going to the next game, just give me someone that you guys want to see take that next step. Someone that is going
Jerry
to
Jeudy.
make some type of.
Are we talking about young guys?
Yeah.
Or are we just
No,
talking about
anybody.
people that need to look better?
I got one.
I'm sorry. I'm not going to be any different. I've got to say Jerry with her.
The easy answer for me is here. I want more of Judkins, but that's not what you asked. I want to see Isaiah Bond. Feels like a guy they're trying.
Totally.
And I talked about the play where Flacco had him wide
There was a
open and
couple
just
almost.
didn't see him. Yeah, or the short stuff. I want to see if there's something there to unlock.
Yeah.
And it might be a little soon. He just got here. It's only week 3.
Juckins just got here.
But,
too.
like, I don't think Jamari Thrash is a thing. I'm sorry, Tennessee Vols. I don't think Cedric Tillman is a thing. I think Judy's fine. We've talked about that a lot. I want to know if Isaiah Bond can be a thing. And that's the guy I want to see.
absolutely think that he can.
Well, his speed too, his athleticism. There was the one play I don't remember, but wasn't it? I mean, he had to reach way far back, and it was just it was a little high over him, wasn't it? But that could have been a big play.
Right.
So like he had a lot of like almost if he would have hit him when he was open. But that put more on Flacco with the missing him when he was wide open in the ball that was a little high and went behind him and he couldn't reach down and bring it down. So no, I think when he gets the ball thrown at him, I would like to see what he does. He's just got to get a shot.
The Packers have been talking about this with Matthew Golden in the run up to this. He's been a
couple
guy
Longhorns, huh?
He is a former.
Yeah,
that's right. They were talking about him. He's just been this close on a bomb and another thing. They underthrew him. They got him involved today with some of the short stuff. Looked like the Browns tried to do that a little bit with Bond. It didn't work out. Maybe next week or the following week is they get Bond to do what the Packers got with Golden today and open him up a little bit.
I think I agree with you when it comes to Bond because the good thing for him is almost just like DTR had at the quarterback position. They gave him a lot of opportunities to be a big player, right? To make those plays. And I think that Bond could have those exact opportunities when it comes to the offense, considering it's wide open.
That's the thing. He's not
nobody
blocked,
has grabbed it.
Hopefully he is a different story than DTR, though.
Right.
Shout out to DTR. We loved him as a person. We just probably didn't really care for him that much as a player. All right, so another big game for the Cleveland Browns. They get their first win of the season, 13-10 over the Green Bay Packers. They've got the Detroit Lions on the road coming up next week. We will be here again, same time, same day to break everything down on what happens. We'll see if it's a win or it's a loss, but we'll be here on an episode of Off the Leash. Make sure you like, subscribe wherever you get your podcast from, and make sure you leave us a 5-star review. That's all we ask. All right, we'll see you later. Another episode of Off the Leash.